Welcome to the Wednesday, April 17th, 2024 Planning Board meeting for the Town of Raymond. The board will come to order. The board does have a quorum. We'll start with a roll call.
Mike Richmond.
Robert O'Neill.
Greg Foster.
Ed Kranich.
Stephen Clark.
And from Zoom.
Kevin Woodbury.
This is a public proceeding, and unless the board specifically votes to go into executive session, you have the right to hear everything that is being said and to look at all the exhibits that are presented. Please notify the chair if you are unable to see or hear. The board works from a published agenda that we'll be considering tonight's items in the following order. We have approval of the minutes of March 20th, 2024. Our old business has been taken off the agenda, so our new business is 3 preliminary plan reviews, one for the youth camp barn and kitchen renovations, a road construction permit, and actually 2 road construction permits. In each instance, the burden is upon the applicant to demonstrate compliance with the provisions of the applicable ordinances or state law. All persons speaking, including representatives of the applicant and members of the public, are asked to stand at the microphone, state their name, address, and affiliation with the application. All persons speaking shall address the chairman. Any conversations must be held in abeyance until after the board has formally adjourned. After the board votes on the merits of each application, it will prepare a written notice of decision. Because the notice of decision may substantially affect any appeals rights, and also as a matter of courtesy, the board asks that those attending the meeting with regard to a specific application not leave until the board has completed its discussion. Appeals from adverse decisions must be filed with the Superior Court or as otherwise provided by law within 45 days of this board's decision. Also, to be certain that you preserve your individual rights to file such an appeal, you must be certain the board records evidences of your appearance this evening. All right. The first order of business is the approval of the minutes for March 20th, 2024.
I move that we accept the minutes as submitted.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Minutes have been accepted. Our second new business is an application from Scott Simmons for the youth camp barn and kitchen renovations. Jim, do you want to start us off?
Sure. This is for, am I going to say this right? Camp Timanus? Timanus, thank you. Dining hall, they plan to renovate and expand the dining hall. The current square footage of the dining hall is 3,450 square feet, and it will go to just under 5,000 square feet. This is in an LLR1 shoreline zoning, so not only do they need to meet the site plan standards, but they'll also have to apply shoreline zoning. But overall, not too much of a concern. Question I would have is if they're under any DP constraints. Obviously, the applicant will discuss that this evening. Under shoreline zoning, they will fall under the categories of principal and accessory structure, campgrounds, roads, driveways, septic waste disposal, erosion, sedimentation control, and soils, and water quality for the improvements that they're making. They don't discuss within their application. I think one of the things that Chris and I talked about today was the need for possible restrooms in the new dining facility. There are no restrooms proposed. So I'm not sure where the restrooms, how it operates now. We may need a little explanation from the applicant with how that works. It won't require any expansion of the septic system, but I think when we did the Boy Scouts, I think there was an understanding that they would have restrooms for the patrons going to the dining hall. So I think overall, it's in pretty good shape. I think Wayne may have some concerns regarding fire, but we can take those up with the discussion. At this time, I would just let the applicant make their presentation.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you and good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, thank you. My name's Garth Altenberg. I'm the director of Camp Timanus, 85 Plains Road, just down the hill here at the north end of Panther Pond. Camp Timanus was founded in 1917, and we've been at our present location since 1920. Those of you familiar with Panther Pond, we've hosted the Panther Pond Association meeting twice recently, 2019 and 2023. So if you've been to that meeting, you've been in our barn, which is where we eat our meals, and the kitchen is located off the back. We're also pleased to collaborate annually with the Jordan Small School here to provide a scholarship to a Raymond area youth to attend the camp. So I'm here tonight to speak about our plans to replace our existing kitchen and expand and renovate our barn, which is where we eat our meals. We have 3 goals in mind. Replace the existing kitchen, remove the old one and build a new one. Improve the structural integrity of the barn building, and expand our dining space. So 3 goals: kitchen, structural integrity, and dining space. We are not growing the size of the camp. We're keeping our current camper population the same as it has been. So we're a small nonprofit, and this is a significant investment for us in really what is the heart of our campus. Our barn, where we gather 3 times a day for meals, really helps to build community. It's the face-to-face interactions of our campers sitting together, getting to know each other, really critical to what we do, but it's certainly a bit crowded. I'll start off by talking about the kitchen. Our existing kitchen off the back of the barn is an annex from the 1950s or so. Cramped, small, outdated, hot, a tough workspace for our crew. They do a fantastic job in there, but not an ideal workspace. We do have water issues with water coming down the hill and into the back entrance of our kitchen storage area, so we'd like to mitigate that problem by building a new kitchen. So the plan would be to remove the old kitchen and build the new kitchen. Our freezer unit is located outside the kitchen space. Our cooks actually have to walk outside to a standalone freezer unit, which is inefficient to say the least, as well as a dry goods storage located outside of the current kitchen. So our plans are to bring in the freezer unit and the dry goods storage, improve drainage around the building, and make it a modern, productive workspace for our kitchen staff. So that's the kitchen. Structurally, we'd like to secure the footings underneath the barn. We have a little shifting, a little tilting that goes on every year. Things aren't quite into square, so we'd like to tighten up the post and beam structure to preserve the integrity of the building and take care of that. By removing the kitchen off the back, we'll have access to 4 sides of the building to be able to improve the structural integrity of that. And then we'd like to expand the east end of our dining area a little bit to add a few more tables so we're not so crowded in our dining space, and to provide an indoor-outdoor covered porch where we can have games, activities on a rainy day, just give us a little more space with a nice covered deck. So those really are our 3 primary goals of this project. Certainly we're thinking about improving the life safety features as well, including means of egress, adding more means of egress, and improving the electrical with the new kitchen. I'll just briefly say that I'm joined this evening by my colleagues with Simon's Architects, who have helped us with the design of this project right from the start, as well as Trillium Engineering, helping us plan for the structural improvements to the building. And then we're working with the Warren Construction Group to serve as our construction managers through this process, with the goal of starting immediately after camp ends in mid-August, should everything, all the permitting move along accordingly, and finishing in time for the opening of camp in June of 2025. Those are my opening remarks. I'd love to turn it over to Scott Simons from Simons Engineering. We'd certainly like to allow time for questions as well, but allow each each member of our team to offer a few insights. Okay, Amelia Galini from Simons.
Good evening. I'm Amelia Galini from Simons Architects. Garth covered sort of the major points of the project. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what we're planning to do. So, as he mentioned, the major driver of this project is the replacement of the commercial kitchen. So we're proposing a new commercial kitchen on a slab foundation. This will provide interior access to food storage, including the walk-in fridge and freezers, which, as he mentioned, currently are outside of the barn. Another goal is the expansion of the historic dining hall and barn. So again, this isn't to accommodate additional campers. This is a seasonal building, only used for about 7 weeks out of the year. We're not fitting more people in here. It's just to give people a little bit more breathing room, especially given the rainy summers that Maine has been having recently. It's nice to have extra space inside. So for that reason, we're also looking to increase the size of the deck and especially the covered porch. And Garth did allude to the life safety improvements. So we are working closely with Wayne and the local fire department for improvements, including increased exit capacity. We're adding a good amount of capacity through new doors to and from the building, including in the back in the commercial kitchen. We will have a fire suppression system dedicated in the hood of this commercial kitchen, and increasing the amount of fire extinguishers throughout, increasing the emergency lighting, including lit exit signs throughout. And to speak a little bit on your question about bathrooms, it's a summer camp. It's fairly rustic. There are bathrooms scattered throughout the camp. Not sure which page it is in your packet, but on the life safety plan, there's a diagram with all of the bathrooms in the area highlighted in blue. That's it for me. I'm going to have Eric from Trillium come up and speak a little bit about the site plan. Thank you.
Let me get out of the way a little bit. So, is this thing on? Everyone hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Yeah, that goes over the waves.
So, Eric Doobie, Trillium Engineering, we provide both civil and structural engineering services. And on this project, we worked with, of course, Scott's firm a lot. In this project, Scott contacted us. We went out and met with Garth, and we talked about the issues that we're dealing with immediately, which is essentially some deterioration in some of the foundation in the existing sill plates. So I know we've covered, what we're talking about doing, and I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit more about why we're doing that. So basically the gradient that we have at the back of the existing building, this is the existing barn and dining, and the kitchen is located here. And so this is basically a hill that runs down towards the existing kitchen with the outbuildings that they have, detached buildings that Garth had mentioned, the freezer and things like that. And of course, the way the grade works now, it essentially, everything kind of comes into that existing area. And so we have some rotted sills. We have some old timber piles, basically old, they're not quite telephone poles, but round support piles. So we're going to be replacing that in the main barn and also in part of the dining hall on that. So we're going to a slab on grade, which gets rid of that wood timber sill condition, and so that's really going to help us. And then of course we've revised the grading at the rear of the building with this new kitchen expansion. So the other reason that we were involved is essentially that the way trucks come in now is not the best way. So we have box trucks for deliveries, and we also have some tractor trailer trucks for food deliveries, things like that. So it's camp road, so we want to make it a little bit safer. So that's the reason that we're putting in this roundabout. So we started with a little bit bigger truck, and we can barely squeeze a WB 53 in, so we're really looking at like a 45-foot trailer, things like that. So I know the fire was concerned about emergency turning radiuses for like a 40-foot diameter, but we do have it
basically for this, that we can get a 45-foot diameter. There is an existing building that's in the center of this area. It's not quite as defined as this roundabout is now, but it will be defined. But that building, the building that's in the center, will be relocated during this transition as well. So. So that kind of covers it. I mean, we're beyond, I think the 250 is 250-foot setback is like
600 in Raymond.
Yeah, I'm just saying 250. Sorry, Jim.
Yeah, that's
sorry.
all right.
But the
Sorry.
250 is what we typically do, but that 250 is essentially, right in here. But we've got some erosion sedimentation control specifically set on the down gradient side during construction, make sure we control sediment, things like that. We do have an existing kind of ditch on this side of the building, and what we're trying to do is also collect some of this upper roadway, divert it around, connect into that ditch, and then have that have it filled with riprap, and then be able to take drainage so it doesn't go into the building or around the foundation, kind of diverts it around both sides of it. So I think that's it for us. Pretty short, sweet, and simple. So I'd be glad to answer any questions and kind of go through that.
Okay,
Thank you.
The board have questions?
On your demolition plan, you show a lot of trees called out in red. I assume that means they're being removed.
That's correct. Those trees are being removed. The intent from Garth from the very beginning was to retain as many trees as possible. I think, unfortunately, during this last storm we just had, some of those branches are probably not as, they've come down, or we've had other issues. So you get trees looking a little more bare than what I think Garth and the board would like to see. But unfortunately, that's what we have to deal with. But yes, that's the intent.
So just for a second, I think this is a great project and really applaud the effort to save this historic barn. I don't see that a lot, so applaud that. 2 quick questions. Will this require approval from the state fire marshal?
Yes, it will.
Thank you.
Wayne's nodding. We were on the phone this morning.
Wayne?
I only ask because sometimes the questions about the bathroom are determined by them, not the town. Other question, only because I'm not super familiar with the site. Is this particular building visible from other properties or from a public right-of-way in any way?
Only throughout the camp. It's the heart of camp, so it is certainly something.
You need to use the mic, please.
Sorry.
Oops.
It's definitely the heart of the camp, but is not visible from the road or from neighboring properties.
Great, thank you.
The drainage, could you just explain where so you have a drainage problem now into the structure. You're going to reroute that water. And are you rerouting the water from all the additional impervious surface as well as the water that's coming down, from the hill?
So the only issue that we specifically have is really right directly on this slope. This slope already has an existing ditch that's going to be maintained. Okay. So it's really just so the water right now actually comes and goes around the backside of the kitchen. So all we're doing is taking that and basically intercepting it just a little bit higher on that, and then being able to connect into the existing ditch. And put some riprap in there so it gives you a little, with gravel surfaces, even though we have, what happens in this particular case, you have gravel surfaces, but you have these pine needles that end up coming in and actually helping out the situation. So you have a pretty well compacted surface, and then with the pine needles, kind of gives that campy look. There's a lot of pines there, and we're trying to retain those. So, and they also help with the gravel in general, maintaining that. With gravel roads, unfortunately, you're always going to lose a little bit of sediment here, and especially in very severe storms. But we're trying to use that riprap to retain some of that sediment so it doesn't get washed downstream.
Okay. Jim, we don't need a phosphate study for this?
It's in the shoreline zone. That's one of the questions I had in the memo was, has any other work been new since 2005? Only that it would trigger if they went over 20,000 square feet of new impervious since 2005. It would trigger a DP permit. I think here where we are in the shoreline zone, I think it is fair for the board to ask that at least the modifications and improvements that they've made address some kind of treatment. And there's two ways we do that. Either you can follow the DP measures, or you can implement our point system that we have within our ordinance. So that may be something we want to look at. If you're not triggering a DP, we will want to see that there's adequate protections. They do have them, but I can't quantitatively tell you how they match up. You do have a drip edge for the roof. You do have some diversion for the road, and maybe that riprap protection becomes a level lip spreader or something like that. So if you look at the point system, there's credits for improving things, and then there's credits for doing actual treatment, and you have to hit 50 points. It's the simplistic way to do it rather than go through the whole DEP thing. So I think that may be something the board will want to look at just to make sure that the improvements itself. Yep. And I don't know what the quantitative numbers are for improvements since 2005, if any.
It's not over 20,000 square feet, so.
Okay.
We added a small bathroom facility. We added a small bathroom facility in 2019, but that's been it.
Are you doing improvements now? Is that you doing the tennis courts?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. But those are already
Same court, just replacing. Correct. Yep.
So I think that's fair. And I was going to ask about the turning radius to see what the turning radius was that you could get around there. And ultimately, it's up to that gentleman up there from the fire department whether that meets his specifications or not. I do think he'll probably want some kind of no parking zone or something like that. Wayne, do you want to chime in at this point?
Sure, Jim. Yes, on the rotary, what we'd like to see is an auto turn for that commercial vehicle to show that that truck that we listed in our memo will be able to navigate through the site. I think that. And yes, there will be some areas potentially that will want to have designated fire lane, no parking. Yes.
How, Eric or somebody, how wide is that actual? I see it's wider than the section. It looks like you probably got a 10 or 12-foot road going down through there. This looks like it's probably 20 or maybe greater.
Well, it's not 20 feet, unfortunately. I mean, it's more along the lines of a driveway, so it's more like 14 to 16, depending on where you take the measurements. Which is, we're able to get tractor trailers in there now, and maneuver. It's a tight maneuver. It's been damaged to some trees that we're going to remove and do as part of this. Again, that's what's kind of, looking at that kitchen rehab. Essentially, we came to the decision at the same time we'll try to make it safer for trucks. So we don't quite have 20 feet, but we know it's not a heavily trafficked road. So if we do have emergency services, which there's been ambulance down there before as needed, then we can certainly make sure that we have people. There's enough people out there to kind of maintain traffic control during that and make sure it gets cleared quickly.
I meant the new circle that you're creating.
Sorry, that was in the memo also about the roadway width in general. But the circle is, I believe, we have, it's wider on the turn side.
Correct.
So, and on the exit side, it's, I believe it's around 14. On the turn side, I believe we're around 20 feet or so.
And is that island in the middle? You've got trees in there now, but are you cleaning that circle out of trees, or is there going to be trees left in the middle?
There are no trees left.
No trees left. So, I mean, in worst case scenario, somebody could drive into that island with a...
We'll have the shed actually will be there, will be repurposed, and we will have the power service trench coming in and underground, and then a pedestal right in there. We'll have boulders to protect the top edge of the turnaround and the power service.
Okay. Because this one shows the transformer outside the circle, but you're saying it's going to be actually inside.
Yeah, that's probably a change since,
Okay.
yeah.
That's fine. I was just wondering if the truck were to go off the edge of the gravel surface, is there a little more wiggle room radiuses and things. So, I mean, I know it's tight, but if somebody were to make a mistake, you know, is there enough room to give them a little give?
What we've seen in the past is the issues are not with the road, with the delivery trucks, but with the trees. And so we've cleared the trees around the perimeter. There's significant scraping and scarring, and you know, truck drivers just not able to quite navigate that.
Yeah.
So that was a significant concern that we feel we're addressing here.
So you get stuff from the top and you get the branches from down low. I understand.
And actually hitting the sides of the trees, it was very tight previously.
Where you show the under drain outlet, there's a swale coming from near your turnaround, and there's also kind of a swale coming from, I guess it would be what, the east or northeast, coming straight down to under the footbridge and through the 12-inch pipe. Do you anticipate any additional water going through that?
Are we talking about, I'm sorry, on this
The
side?
lower one,
Yeah.
the lower one.
This lower one?
That one
here?
right there, that culvert right there, that
It's
existing
a
culvert.
swale right now, it looks like, right?
There's a swale that basically flows down through here that's picking up some of this and surface water and stuff like that. I think the amount of drainage that we're talking about is minimal, and we haven't had issues with this particular culvert. So and it's got essentially a riprap outlet to kind of slow it down before it meanders down.
And where does that outfalls right into Panther Pond?
That does. It goes over essentially grass, pine needles, things like that, with a ditch that essentially exits down to Panther Pond.
Which is, the distance to Panther Pond is what, probably 300 plus feet?
Yeah, we're, I mean, from here, I think we're around that 250.
I think that line on the bottom is 250.
Yeah, so roughly around 300.
Probably a little bit more, actually, probably close to 350. That's a fair distance. And that's an existing, does that channel run all the time, or is that just a seasonal? I know it's running now.
Yeah. A typical summer, it's dry. Last summer, it was wet most of the time.
So it's not like a permanent stream, it's more like a seasonal swale?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
We doing?
I'm good.
Good?
Good.
Good?
Yep.
Good. Kevin?
I'm good.
Okay, so question, do we want to do a site walk? Chris, do you have anything?
I was going to say it probably would be advisable to do a site walk, to look at the swale, look at the site. I'm totally in agreement that they're doing a wonderful job to preserve that old barn structure. I've been in that several times, and it's just the character of the camp, and I'm so glad that they're going to try to maintain that. And I'm all for the project, but I think a site walk would definitely benefit the planning board.
Okay. What do you guys think? Yes? No? I think it's,
I'll go.
I want to see the barn.
You can see some history. You can see some
I
history,
like
come on.
posts and beams.
um,
No, yeah.
what's your schedule like? I mean, when are you planning on starting this project?
Monday, August 12th. Campers leave Friday, August 9th.
Okay, so
So we are go.
Okay.
We need to be
No, I'm just
to
looking-
complete it in 1 year.
I'm looking at advertising time for meetings, so.
So, I mean, I assume that you'll want to be back to the board in June? Because the way we're looking at it now, yeah, I don't think we have any applications in time for May.
No, the deadline for notice is gone.
Was gone.
No, we
yeah.
don't.
Right.
So we'd be looking at the next meeting would be June, which would be a mid-May meeting. So, I mean, if we could have, I'm not going to put dates in the board, but if we could do the site walk sooner than later, it might give them some instruction. as
Yeah,
to-
that, I think we could do it. We have notice, so we
Right,
probably, so we got, Sandy can get the notice out in a week, and so 4 weeks from now. What do you think, Sandy?
The
4 weeks?
earliest publication date, Bob, would be the 26th.
The 26th, okay.
Of April.
Yes. So the earliest you could do the site walk would be May 3rd.
We all reach for our calendars. We do without these things.
Friday.
Yeah, we don't like Fridays.
And I believe the 10th is the filing deadline for the June meeting.
Yeah, the site walk is not, won't matter as far as your filing goes.
But just if there's information that may benefit.
Right.
Yeah,
If
right.
we want to react to something. we
Correct,
have a-
yep, yep.
Yep. So there, as we, oh, you're still doing paper, huh?
Oh, isn't that great?
Jeez.
I do both, actually. I don't trust myself. The smartphone's smarter than I am.
It's lighter during the day. Do you want to do an evening walk, or do you want to do a weekend walk? You have a preference?
We've got light till what, 7:30 now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we probably could do it
like at 5:30.
at 5:30 type thing. Does that work? 5:30? 5:30? Well, let's do it. How about on the 6th then? Monday, the 6th? You back?
Yep.
Kevin?
That should be good.
All right. May 6th,
5:30?
5:30. We'll meet you.
Got it. I'll get the notice out.
Thanks, Andy. We'll meet you at the camp. Okay.
Yeah, is there any, because of the confinement and everything, is there any place that you might just give us some instructions of where we could park, because there'll be multiple vehicles coming?
Yeah, just come in the main driveway, and you'll see the barn in front of you as you come down the driveway, and there's parking to the right. We'll be there to greet you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay,
Bob, I had another couple of comments.
Go ahead, Chris.
And I'm only doing this to be fair. I don't want to raise a red flag at the last minute. We should probably be talking about the requirements of our ordinance that this building may need to be sprinkled. And if that's the case, we got to be talking about where we're going to do water supply, because we don't have public water, underground cisterns, or, it's something that we should be discussing before they come in with all their plans for final.
Okay. What was the other one?
Excuse me?
You said two? Two things?
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention is they will need state fire marshal's permits,
Right.
construction permits, and ADA permits from the state, and they are backed up. So they want to get those applications in, because I won't be able to issue any permits until we have the state permits.
Okay.
Now, maybe Wayne wants to chime in on the sprinkler requirement, or maybe it can be waived. I don't know what the deal is with that.
Wayne, you're up.
The applicant has met with us, and we're going to be meeting again in the next couple of weeks to discuss the sprinkler requirement. They have submitted an alternative or modifications request that will be reviewed. So we're working through the process on the sprinkler system requirement
Okay.
for this building.
Okay. Great.
All right.
And we have already applied for our state permits. We applied about a month ago, received confirmation of receipt, but no word from them yet.
It's always a warm, fuzzy feeling. You got your receipt.
They have it at least. I don't know if
It's
they've
in a
looked at
pile.
it.
It's in a
They have it.
pile somewhere in Augusta now.
Okay, I don't, Jim, I don't see any reason why we can't deem the application complete at this time then. Do you?
No, I don't.
Okay. And, is there a motion?
Yeah, I move to deem this application complete.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so it's complete.
So then the next step would be for the applicant, upon receipt, would we schedule a public hearing?
Right.
So
So we can do that.
most likely the June meeting.
Yeah, so, Sandy, when does the notice for the June go out?
Well, the filing deadline is May 8th.
No, for public hearing, in June.
Okay, so that meeting is June 12th. It would have to go out 2 weeks before that, so the end of May.
So we're in the end of May.
Yeah, right after the, right
I don't
after.
have a calendar in front of me.
Yeah, it'd be
Bob,
right
I'm
after
sorry.
Memorial Weekend.
So the week before Memorial Day weekend. So that
Well,
would
yeah,
be.
with the way the mail has been, yes, I would probably do it a little sooner than later.
Yep. So that would be your target date for the June meeting.
Well,
Okay.
the date of submittal would be
May 8th.
May
that's
8th, right? Unless you want to give them more time, but you may
An
want to have.
extra week, we can do that.
We can give them an extra week if they need it, where it's a returning application.
I don't think it's going
Given that we're returning and the site walk won't be happening until the 3rd, we would appreciate a little extra time.
to do what?
To submit.
Just
Oh,
submit
oh, yeah.
to get
So they
paperwork
like,
in order.
instead of the 8th, they like the 15th?
15.
Yeah.
So that
I don't
would,
see.
I
don't
think
see
the
why.
board should just, make an acknowledgement
That's
they're okay
fine.
with it.
That's
Okay.
fine.
Thank you very much.
All right, so site walk, we're done. Public hearing, we've scheduled. We need a motion to table until the June meeting.
So move.
Is there any discussion?
Second.
Before we do that, do you have any other questions from us? You've got the memos, you know that those things, okay? Kevin, you have any questions?
No.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Passed, you're tabled until June.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing that barn.
Show you around. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the next is a preliminary plan review for a road construction permit.
Correct.
The applicant is Nicholas Cummins, and back before us is Dustin. Hasn't been here in a while.
Yeah, we
You been on vacation or something?
Just busy working in other towns, I guess.
See,
Oh,
we're
man.
not number one anymore.
Yeah.
I get double dose tonight.
He does that often, doesn't he?
He does. I think he plans that.
Yeah.
All right, Jim.
So this is an application for a private road. This application, Milo's Woods Road, was originally a subdivision. I don't even remember when it was approved, but it's expired. Yeah, it's expired. It was Bridle Path, and there was a long road that went in there, and they had multiple lots, and there was another spur road that came off it. Since then, they've built, or in the process of building, one single-family home. And the idea is that they want to extend this road, private road, so in the future they can break off lots. I'm not sure if that point it'll be subdivision restraints hit it, or whether they'll do family lots. That's a conversation we have to have. This is also in the shoreland zone, in the LLR2 district. Is all the Cape is in the shoreland zone. It's in the direct watershed of Sebago Lake. This will include a roughly 1,200 linear foot private road, 16 foot wide, so that it would be able to handle up to 10 lots in the future. One thing that I didn't mention in my memo, Dustin, and I apologize, this came up once before. Because this is in the shoreland zoning, we have limitations on the road slope. They can't exceed 8%. And this road design has it up to 11. You probably can make modifications to hit that 8%, but it may change your overall grading plan. And then other things would be, again, fire department, whether they have any concerns for accessibility turnaround. Typically, anything over 1,000 feet, we require 2 turnarounds, but in this case, maybe where it's just a little bit over, he can live without that. I'm not sure. And then we'll need to see, ideally, we'd like to see that there's proof that there's adequate soils. I assume where this was a subdivision before, there's adequate soils for future lots in there. And then we'll need just to verify, if you plan on using the base for the existing driveway, we'll need some kind of verification by yourself or engineer verifying the depths that you'll be using as existing meet town standard. And then the only other thing I had was, we know from history, because we've been up against the backside of eastern painted turtle, which this kind of abuts, that there are wetlands and there are vernal pools in this general area. I don't know if any of those are in this area that may have an impact or a buffer impact on this road development. So there's some things we need to have conversations about, but overall, I'll let the board have a conversation. Actually, I'll let Dustin present, and then the board can have a discussion.
Thanks, Jim. Go ahead, Dustin.
Sure. I think I'll probably just approach the planning. Dustin Roma with the Roma Consulting Engineers, and representing Nick Cummings on this application. So as Jim had indicated, the property was previously, many years ago, approved as a subdivision, which was never really built. There was some woods roads that had been cut through the property for access, and they were drivable, but it wasn't a subdivision road by any means. There's no evidence that the project was really ever started. The property's changed hands. This applicant is not the developer that originally proceeded with that application, but so they had acquired the area that I'm showing here in the light green together with this dark green area here. This was the land that was subdivided but never built out. And this area here was a separate parcel that was owned by a neighbor and had a right-of-way that kind of came down through here. So I've highlighted this because the developer or the builder on this property here also owns this land as well. So it's the purpose for the road is kind of twofold: to provide access into the property, but also to provide access into this adjacent lot, which is, you know, also it's a separate LLC, but it's the same owner. When they purchased this property, they divided this lot off from the rest of the land. There's currently a home being built on this property, and this is a shared access driveway. There's a second home that's under construction here. So we've got two single-family dwellings being built, and this was approved essentially as a shared driveway coming in. And this is all you know, built out to a subgrade material at this point. It's drivable. You know, they've been able to get materials in and out, do inspections with the town. This home is substantially built, and this one is well underway as well. So when we became involved in the project, that's kind of where things stood. You know, these two homes were under construction. The roadway had been roughed into a subgrade level with culverts being placed. So we came in, we surveyed the roadway to establish what was built out there for grades and limits of the site disturbance for the driveway area. Looked at the ditches that had been constructed along the sides. There's kind of a rock retaining wall that had been built along this area just to accommodate a grade that comes around this corner. There is a wet area here on the side of the road that's basically a little standing water pond area that drains out with a culvert. So again, that's just kind of what was there when we became involved in the project, and we started talking about what would be necessary to improve this beyond what would be a driveway to the house, so that it could potentially provide access to this property, and that in the future maybe could provide access to maybe another lot in here or something. So so we designed the road keeping in mind the standards for up to 10 lots, which would be a 22-foot wide surface, 16-foot travelway, 3-foot shoulders, and trying to kind of maintain the grades that were there. And understanding Jim's comment here tonight, it looks like we may have to revisit those road grades. Yeah. And that's really kind of why he had paused in building out this road. It doesn't have the gravel placed in there yet, and he kind of wanted to take it through the process of a private road approval before he placed the gravel, just so that he wasn't having to go in and redo a bunch of stuff. So that's kind of the pause in the road construction at this point. Originally thinking that maybe he would wait, but at this point it makes sense to just have it built and approved as a road here before gravel's placed. So we've received the comments from fire department and Jim's memo as well, and just some of the introductory comments we've heard here tonight. So I think we've got some things to talk about with staff, just to kind of clean this plan up some before we come back and talk about an approval. Certainly looking to get any preliminary feedback that you may have at this time. And again, we won't go through kind of line by line all the items in the memos. We can certainly work behind the scenes to address those.
So Dustin, is it basically three homes subdivision? Is that basically what we're looking at?
Yeah, I mean, what it would be right now is, so if the road is approved, and it's built, then it would provide access to this lot as well. So it could be, a home could be built here, and there's already 2 being built, so there'd be conceivably over the next, year or 2, there would be just 3 homes, and then maybe potentially more in the future.
All owned by the same person?
Yeah, I think the intent is with that that these would probably be sold, once it's built. So they'd be saleable lots with homes built on them.
Built on them.
Yeah.
Right now, are we looking at like a backlot driveway? Is that how this has got?
I mean, right now, what happens is this lot has the minimum frontage required on 302, as does this lot. So what we're looking at right now, without a road approval, is a shared driveway on 2 legally conforming lots with frontage on 302.
Okay.
So it's basically just a split shared driveway. So there's no standard that this needed to be built to.
Yep.
But in order to make it eligible to be a private road and provide frontage and access to this lot, we've got to improve it beyond just a driveway. And these are the limits of some of the resource protection areas that are in the shoreland zone. So we just, even though it's kind of off the property, we just wanted to kind of overlay that information on here. We've got basically standard shoreland zone across, but these are the resource protection areas that are kind of these adjacent pieces.
So, Mr. Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
Dustin, this previously had a stormwater permit, is that correct?
I believe it did.
And has that been, so where's the, where would it be with the DEP? Is that expired or is that rescinded? Because I know some of these things with the DEP don't necessarily go away. So I'm just curious to know where the DEP is with this. And, we're close, I think we're somewhat close to a stormwater threshold here anyway. But I don't know exactly what the numbers are.
Yeah. So we had designed the roadway to be under the 20,000 square foot impervious limit based on the length. And we also, we took into account the entire gravel surface, not looking at it as being like a driveway that has new impervious going to a road. It's all recently built, so we just kind of looked at it all as new area for that 20,000 square foot calculation. I don't know the complete status of that DEP permit. I can go back and look. It's been so long that all of the Chapter 500 rules have completely changed. I don't think that they would have any ability to go in and build that over.
The other question would be, to your point, if it's all owned by the same entity, then they could possibly pull those homes in as well, not just the road.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about title issues and, what's being sold and what's contiguous, and it's a little bit complicated and messy, I guess, because of the history. But, I think you just need to do a little more history and get back to us as to where this all falls.
Kind of better paint that timeline for everybody, just so everyone's comfortable.
And would it matter, since you said that 10-acre parcel is in an LLC, does that matter, being where it's adjoined and it's in the same name?
If it's in the same name, under our statute, it's fine, but with the DEP, it's common scheme.
Gotcha.
Because they look at the ownership of the LLC and the owners, if they're the same, they consider it common scheme. So that's kind of what I'm getting at, is it's a little bit complex with the title here, and if they sell one, they haven't lived there, so they don't really get the homestead exemption. So it's a little, we're borderline DP and borderline subdivision, depending on the timing. as it stands right now, they're fine, but if they were to start selling some stuff off, it could get a little weird.
Yeah, certainly. I think there's an awareness of kind of getting close to what would require additional permits.
So does that middle dark green box, the lower one, does that have access now from another property, or is it just a landlocked piece?
It did previously have access. My understanding is that that was not conveyed with the land because it was being sold to somebody who had access to get to it another way. That was my understanding.
And then when they sold it, they didn't give them the rights from their own property?
Yeah, because it was,
On the
like I
property
said,
below.
yeah, there was a previous access way that it's not on paper it looks like you can get through there, but the reality is it's wet, it's low, it's not a good area. It's going through that resource protection zone. There's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't access that parcel from the right-of-way that was previous.
And that dark green square, could you have frontage, is that enough frontage just for one lot, or could
Correct.
that lot be split?
It's just enough for one.
The plan shows overhead utility lines for electric. Will that be put underground? And it seems like they're going to be in the way of the road.
So the overhead lines are already in. The primary is run all the way to,
I'll probably have to where that new house is gonna go, right?
yeah. So overhead primary ends here. So it comes all the way down the road up to this point, and then it goes underground from this pole into the building.
So essentially, when we get to that point, they'll have to request, ideally, we request a waiver, because typically, a waiver, but they're installed. I don't know if you want to make them tear it out and put it underground, but maybe after this last storm, they might want to think about it. But utilities are in, basically, so.
Yeah.
And they'll be within the right-of-way, the poles?
Yeah, the poles that are shown on the plans have all been surveyed, those locations.
So again, regardless of whether it's a DEP, we'll want to see some methodology as to how you're handling phosphorus or runoff.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of wooded area on this lot. It's a big parcel.
Big parcel,
Yeah, and the road is kind of running right down through the middle, so we're not right up against property lines. So we can certainly, establish a criteria for how stormwater can be managed on site through, buffers and forested areas and conveyances.
Wayne, while you're there,
Yes.
do you have anything with regards to, I know we're over 1,000 feet of road here, but we're like 1,200. Do you have a preference of 2 turnarounds versus 1? And I think under our criteria, we can grant a waiver, but there's other things we can do with, pull-offs and areas, things like that. I don't know if you've had any discussion yet or not.
I haven't, no. It's something that we'd want to look at based on the length of the road and actually what the final configuration of the road ends up being.
Right.
Will they have to do anything to try to meet that 8% with their layout of the road?
Yeah, there's certainly a good spot that we can add a hammerhead kind of right in the middle of the road on the left-hand side. So in the light green area that's in between the 2 dark green areas,
Yep.
There's a nice level spot there right where on the curve of the road that can be very easily.
Yeah, and I think the other option we have too is you can have a pull-off area, so, a vehicle can pull off, emergency vehicle can pull
Yep.
off, so it doesn't block the road too. There's options in that ordinance now for terminuses beyond.
And a lot of that's kind of already there. Like if you were to drive up and look, you'll see where that area has kind of really been widened out on that corner. So that's really no problem at all to.
Is there ledge there, or can that material be, I don't know if you've looked at that, you just found out tonight, but I didn't know if there's any way you can drop that grade
Yeah, you
down.
can kind of, it's right at Station 7. So if
Yeah.
you look at the second plan sheet to the left-hand side at Station 7, we've already kind of located where there's a gravel apron just beyond the utility pole. It's already kind of there as a turnaround. We just didn't designate it as a turnaround on the plans, but we could easily do that.
Okay.
It's pretty much already existing.
But that 7 is, I guess it's at the top of the hill there, but that may have to come down a little bit anyway, because of the
Yep.
slopes.
What else? Anyone else? Questions?
Sidewalk?
I think we can wait until we get Dustin back again and take a look. You're coming back with some more plans, right?
Yeah, I mean, basically, we're going to adjust the grades to meet the 8%, and then, yeah, I mean, other than that, yeah, we just have a little bit more research to do. But I think we would aim to try and be back for that June meeting as well to answer these questions. And
Okay.
Mr. Chair, to the applicant,
Yeah, go ahead.
when we were up there for recent inspections, there was like 3 areas, and I know the road isn't finished yet, but just so you're aware, there was 3 areas that I'm not sure we could have got the fire truck up through because it was really muddy. So just wanted to put that out there, something that would need to be looked at and addressed.
Yeah, because that's not built to.
no, it's completely just subgrade right now. There's no gravel on the road, so it's we'll take a look at that.
So Dustin, so basically, the plan is to build something right now in that dark square?
If, once the road is approved and built and it's a private road, there is an intent to build a house on that lot. I don't know if it would be right away, if it would be a couple years out, but we do want to make it so that a house could be built on that lot.
I'm just, up to the board, but I was thinking, is the sidewalk better after we have more road to look at? I mean, all we're really looking at right now is we're not looking at a subdivision.
We're not looking at subdivision, but I think the road alignment is basically in place, so I don't see any reason that we wouldn't want to do it now. You can see it in the raw condition, so.
All right, whatever.
I think the sooner, again, the better,
Sooner is better.
Sooner is better?
I think so.
Yeah.
All right, sooner better.
You want to do it that same,
No, we can't do it the same night. Do it the same week.
Yeah, it'd be too dark.
Yeah. Back to the calendar.
and I don't know if we got another one after this that Dustin's doing as well. I don't know if you want to go back and revisit that one. We could do both the same night. They'd be quick, I think.
Yeah, this one will be extremely quick.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
other one for Alfred Mann, we could wrap up too.
You guys, same week, sometime the same week, the 8th, we got, planning boards, the 7th and 9th. We're gonna try that.
Either one's fine with me.
Bob, you don't have a meeting the 8th. We canceled that.
Oh, that's right, we don't have a meeting the 8th, that's right,
We could do
sorry.
it. There you go.
So, you wanna do the 8th? You already got the 8th planned, let's do the 8th.
Okay.
All right?
That works for me, yeah, I can do that.
What time?
Well, let's shoot for that 5:30 time again. We got light. Sandy, did you catch that?
I did.
Chris, did you have anything?
No, my only comment was, I think that Bridle Path subdivision was vacated by the planning board. I think the previous developer asked for that to be extinguished and vacated.
Yeah, I think they did
So
that.
I don't know if that has anything to do with the stormwater, but
I think they did that for tax purposes, didn't they, Chris, if I remember correctly?
I believe so. I think we discussed this many years ago. I just vaguely remember that there's something in the file, a letter from Jim Cummings, who was the original developer. And I can check into that and be more prepared to answer that at the site walk.
Okay. All right, we don't need a motion, it's just a site plan, it's not, application's not complete, we're not tabling anything. So, Dustin, you got from us what you need?
Nope, I got plenty of stuff to work on, so, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then, we'll move to the Keystone Investment Group's road construction permit. Alfred Mann Drive. Ken's iPad's up.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a funny accident.
Ready, Jim?
I'm ready.
Go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This project is also for extension of a private road. Alfred Mann came to you, I don't know, back probably 6 or 7 years ago for an expansion, and here it is again to be extended again. At that time, they were looking to do a lot. As it turned out, that lot ended up being, I believe, a duplex at the end of the current private road section of this Alfred Mann Drive. The driveway, there's a driveway that comes off of that and extends into Mr. Baker's property at the top of a hill, and it's a long driveway that winds up to the top of the hill. My understanding is that they wish to create another lot, so they need the road frontage. So the driveway would have to be converted to a private road. The driveway extension, I believe, is paved at this time. I don't know the exact dimensions, but it is paved. I think they would have to expand or widen that to meet the private road standard. As you look at your detail on your plan, they want to extend that by, really put the shoulder on one side and keep the drive on another side, so it's a little bit of a wonky cross-section. This still has, I know that property on the end has changed a couple times. There's still a few outstanding issues in the construction of the original Alfred Mann's Drive. When they did that, it was a tight squeeze going up through there because they're existing homes. There was a culvert down on 121. We've been asking for a long period of time that be corrected. There's two different pipe types that were put together. We asked for one contiguous piece of pipe. One was jammed inside of another, and the roadside ditch was a little tough down through there. And then there was some general improvements we were looking for up through that first section. So those are still outstanding, and there's a small bond still in place by the town to do that work. But I think Chris has been working with the current owner of the last lot in there now. Going forward, what they're looking to do is relatively modest. They're looking to extend this road roughly 300 feet with a turnaround. There's a current turnaround in front of the lot just to the east. There's a turnaround that's in front of that lot close by, so I think that's a conversation we might want to have as well. The other part of this is I don't know clearly, there's multiple lot lines shown here, so I think there's more than, this shows 3 proposed lots off the end of this private road. So I don't know if that's an amendment to the original Panther View Ridge subdivision, or whether this is a new subdivision that uses Panther Ridge Road, Alfred Mann's Road for that subdivision. the question we just got to keep in mind is what's the final tally of lots, because that defines what the private road has to be built to. So, sorry for all the confusion. This one's got a long history and everything, but maybe Dustin can add some more to that or clarify.
Sure, Dustin.
Yep. So again, Dustin Roma with DM Roma Consulting Engineers, and the subdivision that Jim was referring to, which basically created this Alfred Mann Drive roadway to its current terminus, created these lots going down 121. So each of these lots was a lot in that subdivision, and then there was this 50-foot wide right-of-way that ran to the back of that land, and then this was a separate parcel on the back side. So this dark green parcel, together with this light green area and the area that we're showing as this new right-of-way, that is the current configuration of this parcel. There is a separate parcel back here that has a right-of-way in here off of, I think, is it Oak Ledge that comes up through here? Yep. So there's an access point here, and then, but the true access to the existing single-family home that's on the property is off the end of Alfred Mann Drive, and this long driveway that is paved up to a portion, and then somewhere in around here transitions to gravel up to the top of the hill, and then it's paved again up around where the home is. So we've actually been working with code enforcement for some time to try and just remedy a long kind of standing issue with this lot and to provide it some frontage. So we're working on a scenario to basically reconfigure the lot lines between these two properties to be able to, give this lot frontage on a new road. So it's not something that I drew up on this plan, but it's something that we've been working with Chris on. But I didn't want to complicate the issue here tonight, going into the details of that, given the history we already have. So I just wanted to make the board aware that that's one of the accomplishments of when this road, if we can get this approved as a private way extension, that would give us the ability to then reconfigure these two lots so that they had the frontage that they needed here. This light green lot is a actual proposed lot that we are looking to just divide off from this parcel so that this one parcel would become two. So the extension of this roadway would provide access to this new lot, and then the remaining land, as well as a reconfigured configuration to provide access to this. So that's where the 3 lots comes from, for 3 additional new lots for this road extension. There's currently a single family home here, another one here, and then the duplex here. So there's 3 lots accessing Alfred Mann Drive, and this being the 4th, with one of those lots being a duplex. So what we're proposing for improvements is on the cross section, it looks like we've got a paved road, and then we're only adding shoulder on one side, but currently that road pavement does have about a foot shoulder on either side. What we're looking to do is only disturb one side of the roadway and not widen it in 2 directions. So we're looking to maintain the foot of actual gravel shoulder that's there, the 12-foot or so wide paved surface that's there, and then extend the gravel shoulder on one side only, so that we've got a total roadway width of the 22 feet. With the pavement would be off-centered from that 22-foot section.
And then are you going to pave that?
The plan is to keep the pavement that's there now, but the area that would be widened would be a gravel surface road, because I think the standard for this type of a road would be a gravel surface, but we're not looking to remove any of the pavement that's there. We would just keep the pavement that's there and widen the gravel surface on one side. And then we've got power that would need to be run underground, continued up through to serve this new lot that we're proposing. The power for these existing homes here actually comes in this way, so there is no power currently running
the
through
power
this
is at the end of lower Alfred Mann Drive, right, to that duplex?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Is that-
So we would extend it up.
Is that overhead or is that underground? I can't, I think it's under, I don't know, because it crosses the pipeline, so I don't remember. There's a pipeline, there's a gas pipeline on the lower section that it crosses this, and then right where they're doing the terminus, there's a electrical power line
Right. So
crosses.
So we currently have overhead power coming up the road. The plans as we've laid them out now are showing overhead power, but one of the comments that Jim brought up that we need to coordinate through CMP is if they would even allow overhead power to extend beyond, which would cross their power line. So we may need to go underground anyway for that. So we'll certainly get that sorted out.
You might be able to get up underground to that power line, but then you may have to drop underneath that, that's all.
Yeah. Yeah, so it is a fairly short road extension on a road that already has a road construction permit for an extension previously, but we understand the layers of kind of history and complication here, as well as kind of letting you know that there's other things going on behind the scenes other than what we're asking for approval on for the private way. So any questions you have about any of those items, happy to answer them. But we were trying to kind of keep the items separate, where we'll get, let's address the private road extension, and then we'll work on the reconfigure those lots, as well as looking at some potential development of that lot that's being divided. Well, so
Wayne, oops, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Wayne, one of the things that I picked up on too was the location of the proposed hammerhead is on a steep section of road. And obviously, you're going to want to have a level, more of a level area for turning around.
Yep.
The road overall does not exceed 1,000 feet, so I didn't know if there's been any conversation with you that the existing turnaround may be acceptable rather than having the terminus at the very end. Does it make sense to leave it where it's at and not try to build this turnaround on a steep slope? I don't know what your thoughts are, so my apologies.
So from looking at the road and trying to understand the proposal, the turnaround that's in the flat area right now, where is that in relation to where the road's going to end? Because where that turnaround that I see right now is right at the end of the current pavement.
Right. Well, yeah, it's where the pavement.
It's around station 6 plus 0.
Yeah. Yeah. If you look at the existing turnaround, it's roughly on this plan and profile. It's roughly around station 625, something like that.
Yeah.
And then this road goes up the hill. So yeah, it's not paved there. This turnaround is in the lower gravel section, right? It's not paved, is it? Maybe it is paved. It's rough. It's old pavement. There's old pavement and new pavement. Sorry. This is in the old pavement section, and then the driveway is kind of a newer pavement section. So that's why so this is in the older pavement section, and it's about, probably 300 feet from where this road's going to end.
So currently, we don't have a turnaround at all.
You do. It's in front of that proposed duplex. That duplex's driveway is kind of part of the turn. It's a dedicated turnaround there, but I don't know how their driveway currently comes off, if it comes off the side or the end of that. But there is, as part of the last Alfred Mann, that's where the turnaround was. Okay, because right now, currently, the conditions on site is just it's just an open lot. There's but there is a design for that to be a turnaround.
But I think to Wayne's point, there is no, if you go on site today, you don't see an actual.
You don't see it, but it's
something that would jump out at you as being a dedicated turnaround.
It's not completed, let's put it that way.
And the driveway comes off of that turnaround? Is that correct?
I don't know exactly where that, maybe that's something we just need to see on the plan so we have a better idea.
Yep, yeah, we can add that house and the existing driveways there on that lot that was built.
And it would be good to actually for our folks to know that that's a turnaround instead of just.
It's on approved private road plan, and like I said, this hasn't been completed, and it's part of the ongoing dilemma we've had, that these things haven't been buttoned up, but it's just, the property's flipped a bunch of times, so.
And, okay, yeah. I'll work with Dustin and try to.
It just, from a standpoint, it's a decent level area where it is now. If we try to move it up the hill to the board's discussion, you know, we're forcing it on a steep slope, and a turnaround on a steep slope doesn't make, it's not practical for the fire department, it doesn't make sense, and Dustin would be grading halfway down to Panther Pond to make it work, so.
Dustin, where's the water going?
Yeah, basically this road goes straight up the grade. So there's ditches on the sides. There's a culvert around station 660, which brings the water under the road in an easterly direction, and then it goes under a driveway culvert that turns to the left to go into that last lot. So it
I believe, too, on the property that's now shown as Joshua Tangway, believe there's some wooded buffers on that lot as well.
Yep.
For treatment purposes. So, again, we'd want to see that whole collective plan on how this all interrelates, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just, so if we're looking at the approving the private road, basically to the amount of homes that we potentially are going to build. But the board would not see that again for those homes that are constructed. Is that correct, Chris or Jim?
Yeah,
we're not approving a subdivision.
Yeah, and when we did the last extension, they widened it for the, I believe, the 4 to 10 lot build out. So the first section of the road meets up to 10 lots currently.
Right.
So to your point, if they do this and they meet that same standard for 4 to 10 lots, we may or may not see this again. Depends if they split up into a family subdivision or they do the 5-year incremental split.
Yep.
We wouldn't necessarily see it, but the only thing that the town would have control on is if it ever exceeded 10, then it would have to go to another higher standard, and the whole road would then have to be brought up to that higher standard.
Yep. So my concern is that if we may not see it, that with that steep water runoff, are we adequately treating the water off of the new gravel surface that we're putting in there?
Right.
Because this flows pretty quickly into Panther Pond, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've got, again, this driveway's there now. It's got the roadway ditches.
But we're widening it.
We are.
We're putting more gravel in.
So, Justin, on that lot, that lower light green kind of triangular piece at the bottom, are they looking to build on the other side of the power line?
So we're looking to basically come off of that, where the hammerhead is, kind of come off of that and potentially develop that piece. But that would be kind of its own little standalone project.
Well, I'm just wondering that maybe that little triangle that goes up to the power line off where the hammerhead is, maybe you could do something in there for some easements or buffers or something with the runoff.
Yep. Yeah, certainly.
That's an opportunity to do something in there, to your point.
Yeah,
but we'd want to see some kind of computation for the 300-foot where we stand, because I know last time in the Panther Ridge, whatever it is, view subdivision, we did some phosphorus calculations for that, or we did something for that back 6 or 7 years ago. I don't know, these two aren't contiguous, but this one would have to kind of start looking at its phosphorus budget.
Yep. And my memory may be wrong here, but was the decision to pave that basically because of the steepness of
I think the owner did it on their own.
Yeah, I think it was
a driveway.
That was a driveway, right? This is not.
It was exempt from everything because it was a single-family driveway.
Okay.
But
at the time, the last time this was in front of you to improve the roadway to be able to split the lot on the right, this area that we're showing improvements on now was all gravel. And it's since been paved.
Okay.
Yeah, when we looked at this before, the access that went to the single family at the top was gravel. They paved that after. That's why I said in my statement, it's new pavement there. Alfred Mann section that's approved is old pavement or gravel shoulders. So it was a little bit of a, if you remember correctly, maybe you don't, but when we went up through there, it was really confined by the gas line that crossed, transmission line that crossed.
Yeah.
And there was existing homes, so we really had a really tight squeeze to widen that to get it up. But since then, the road's deteriorated a little bit more, so maybe some improvements are needed down in the lower section.
Yeah.
Wayne agrees.
Chris, did you have anything? I know you got a little more history with maybe the duplex. You've muted.
Now you're Wayne.
Chris, you're muted. There you go.
Well, let me repeat that. So I would like to hear a little, not history, but a little narrative of what Dustin means by development of that triangular lot, the new one created on the right. Does that mean multiple homes? Does it mean multi-unit, or what are they talking about?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about some different ideas on that. It could be a single-family home. It could be a duplex. It could be multiple homes. But what we wanted to do is, again, is just kind of look at this kind of one step at a time, because we don't know yet. You know, that project would have to come before you as a subdivision if we were proposing anything more than a single-family home. So we have to kind of analyze that lot and figure out if it's worthwhile to do more than a single-family home. We think there's opportunity to do that, but again, at that time, that would have its own host of discussion items as far as Alfred Mann Drive and the adequacy of it to serve a development that's above and beyond a single-family home. So all we're asking for approval, if this were to be approved, would be that it's just, you know, either a single family or a duplex, or nothing that would require site plan or subdivision approval through the planning board. That's all that would go on that lot if it were approved just for the private road.
So Dustin, when we originally talked about this months ago, what I recall was you were going to build this extension to provide enough frontage to do 2 lots. And right now, are you considering, is that long enough to provide more than 2 lots of the 225-foot requirement of road frontage?
So it would be the 3 lots. So the dark green lot and then the big square lot where Dave's house currently sits. Those 2 would be reconfigured like you and I had discussed. And then we would be dividing this triangular shaped lot off from the dark green lot. So there's enough road frontage on this road extension for 3 lots.
What's the frontage requirement in this zone?
Yeah, it is.
This is in the village residential, so it's probably short.
Well, it's generally 100 feet, but is portions of that in shoreline zone?
No.
No.
Not this
all
section.
Out in village? Okay.
So it's all out
100 feet, right, Dustin?
I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah, I do too. My question is more, I'm worried about, are we creating a subdivision?
Yeah, that's...
I mean, that's the only way I can say it. I just want to be careful that we don't, because what we talked about, Dustin, was 2 lots. This 3rd lot one is now a surprise to me.
Well, yeah, we can talk about that, but I don't believe this plan's changed since we sat down and talked about it.
Okay.
And, from what I emailed you and we met on, because again, it's really accomplishing the 2 goals. It's reconfiguring the lots and splitting off this additional lot that could potentially be developed.
So if I go up that road, Dustin, you've got the 1 lot where the hammerhead's going, which is in the light green.
Yeah.
On this plan, I can see there's another proposed lot immediately when you cross what I'll call the old Panther View subdivision line. There's a lot immediately to the left. Now, is that first lot, is that gonna go to Dave Baker for his lot up on the top? And then you have the rest of it would be the guts in the middle?
Correct, yeah. So on the plans we submitted that shows the road extension, we've got a proposed lot on the left with kind of a line going off that's somewhat parallel to the power line.
Yep.
So what the plan is there is that there would be a portion of the dark green that would be conveyed to the light green to give it frontage as shown on that plan. So it's not really a proposed lot in that it's being created. It's just it's being conveyed to one of the abutting parcels.
And are these for sale, or are these to family? I think to your point, Chris, I know where you're going with this, is we just need kind of a chronological and understanding of what these lots are created, if they're for sale or if they're family, or how they're being done.
So what Dave wants to do is build a new single-family dwelling for himself up at the top of the hill. So if it were possible, he would just build 2 homes on 1 lot, but Raymond has an ordinance, you can't do that. So we have to have individual lots for the 2 detached.
So the one that he wants to build would be the lot that you're creating kind of in the middle.
Yep.
And then the other one would give him frontage, legal frontage on his existing home at the top. And then the one that might be for sale is off to the right.
Yep. And then that out of the lot, he's looking at, potential, like I said, maybe just putting a duplex on it for rental income, possibly more than that. But again, that would have to be something that would come in front of you as a standalone plan. And we would discuss, whether that made sense as kind of as a separate project.
Yeah, is that lower light green road, that light green lot, say that 10 times fast, is that a lot of record, or is that being created?
No, that would be split off following approval of the private road. So the steps that we're looking to do here is just get approval for the road extension, the 300 feet or so, just as a road extension. Once that's complete, we would split the light green lot off from the big dark green parcel, and then we would swap land between the big dark green parcel and the light green square so that they'd have the required road frontage on the road extension. So under those 2 scenarios, all we're really doing is creating 1 new lot. We've got 2 lots there now, and there's going to be 3 when we're done. So
when you come back, Dustin, will you have those lot lines shown on the plan?
We're happy to do it. Again, like Chris and I have discussed it and several times. I'm happy to do it. I just didn't want to, again, overcomplicate something that, get into, planning board feeling like they needed to review what was going on. But we're happy to show you all that information.
Yeah,
I think it would be helpful for me and the board.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got lines, Chris, shown on the private road, but they're just going to the edge of the page. We don't know where they go into space. So to your point, I think even if it was a conceptual lot layout, it would be beneficial for the board to understand the long-term.
Yeah, I can take this exact plan we have in front of you and just show what it'll look like when it's done. That's no problem.
Thank you.
It sounds like you have a couple of different batches of pavement on that road.
Yep.
Is there any way to confirm that the pavement is good, or it meets standard?
We probably would want to do a test pit or some borings, I understand.
Do some borings, I think, would probably be the best way.
Yeah, I know when we got approval to split the lot previously, we had gone through and done some test pits along the shoulders of the roadway just to establish gravel depths and all that.
Yeah.
The pavement surface that's there, I think what we had looked at the time was that was kind of above and beyond what is necessary for the road standard for the number of homes that it serves. Again, not looking to remove it or anything like that, but that what we looked at prior was that the width and the depth of the gravel was sufficient to meet what the town requires for access.
Yeah, I guess in this case, the driveway that we're converting to private road, we just need to confirm that the base is at least there.
Okay, the pavement.
The pavement, we don't require pavement on, but we should make sure that the base is adequate, that's all.
Yep. Yeah, so probably need some additional test pits along that section of road that we didn't look at last time.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? we doing a sidewalk? Now?
I think it might.
Later?
I think it might help you understand some of the lot configurations at this transition between old and new, old subdivision line and new single-family lines. I think it, it won't take very long, but I think site visit will be very beneficial to understand what's going on. I mean, it's not far from the other one you're doing either. So.
Is that far? Can we do it the same day?
You should.
The other one?
Yeah, this one's on 121, so you're just a hop, skip, and a jump from the other one. The other one's almost across.
And we're all together, it's all the same.
Right,
so
exactly. You just shoot up Main Street.
Yeah,
and
you
that
just
one-
go up Main Street.
Yeah.
go 121.
Take a right, go. Okay. So why don't we try? We'll get Sammy to advertise for 6:30? Give us enough time, 5:30, 6:30? We should, right?
6:30 on the 8th?
On the 8th, yep.
You got it.
Thank you, Sandy.
And also, you're right at the slope on this one too for private road. You know that.
Yep.
This one does. This one's not shoreline, so you don't have the restriction. So 12 is the max.
Yep. Yeah, it was, we did go and survey the grades of this road, and it was right at 12%.
The night of sidewalks. All right. What else do you need from us, Dustin?
Nope, I think I'm good. Appreciate the board's
Dustin,
time.
did you get my message today?
Who are we talking to?
I'm talking to Dustin.
Oh,
Today, no.
Okay, can you just give me a call in the morning?
Sure thing.
Thank you.
it's never a good sign, Dustin.
No.
It's like
Talk to me after class.
Yeah, I know. You'll just love when I say something.
So do you want to make a formal tabling of this, or what do you want to?
I don't think we'll do anything with this one. We'll just leave this one.
Okay.
The other one.
Yeah, like the other one.
Okay.
Makes sense.
If we don't deem it complete, we don't have to table it.
So we'll come back to this one most likely in June as well.
Yeah.
June's going to be a busy one, I think.
Yeah, well, probably.
Yeah, we're getting used to that.
By then, we may have some new ordinances.
Yeah.
I don't think anything affects these tonight, but,
They wouldn't matter anyway.
well, you haven't deemed it complete.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. All right. We are up to staff communications. Is there anything? Chris, you have anything for us? Oh, do you have anything for us?
The only thing I was just going to mention, I know there's some folks here for the, just probably monitor what's going on with the solar farm. Absolutely nothing at this point.
Okay.
We haven't received any confirmation that the third-party tasks have been agreed to by both sides. I think we're close, but it's not there yet. It's in the hands of both attorneys and the town's attorney at this point. The applicant did get back, and they are working on the visual assessment, but that's not complete, and it won't be complete, and won't be ready until the June meeting. And as I said earlier, I believe the other thing was communication was, I believe the DEP may be meeting with them out in the field.
Good.
So from the board standpoint, nothing new, nothing to share with the board, other than you just got to wait and probably till the June meeting.
June meeting. Okey doke. Chris, you have anything?
Nothing other than to say, I'm just going to have to polish up my planning board skills. It's been a while since I've been sitting in this seat. Alex did a great job, and we really miss him. And but I'll try to get up to speed. I haven't had an opportunity to go through all these applications thoroughly, but by the time we have the next meeting, I'll hopefully be up to speed.
Do we have any, and Sandy, we have no new applications, correct?
Nope. No May
Correct.
meeting.
And nothing on the immediate horizon that we know about, or?
Nothing I know about.
All right, so site walks are next. May meeting is canceled. We have nothing to do. Next meeting will be in June.
Bring your next meeting, you bring your bug repellent, because they'll be out.
Yeah, whether or not, yeah. Did you move
They're
to
out
adjourn?
now.
I just did.
Did someone second it?
I'll second it.
There we go. Do we need discussion? All those in favor?
Not allowed.
Aye. Done.